Hi, it's me, your boy, and it's time for Summerween again. No idea why I suddenly tried to sound like I'm from the southern United States. What the hell is going on? I don't know. Clearly the heat wave has fried my brain, because if you don't know, I live in Germany. We had the heat wave of forever in the past week. Is it still the last week? 2 weeks ago? There was a heat wave. It was a big one. It was a very bad one. And the next one is already coming. Game of Thrones said winter is coming, but have they ever considered summer is coming as well? Anyway, it's Summerween, and I have to read some creepy books, I guess. This will be extremely weird, because I am filming this vlog at the same time as I'm filming my first Adventure Marathon vlog. If you don't know what that is, it's a readathon created by Kirsty from K-With Bookish and co-hosted by yours truly. My Summerween TBR is 100% integrated into my Adventure Marathon TBR, so I'm reading stuff for Summerween, but I'm also reading stuff for Adventure Marathon at the same time. But the books I'm reading for Summerween will be talked about in this one and not in the Adventure Marathon vlog. Over there I will just mention them. And yeah, ignore all of this. These plants are currently standing here because I have all of the windows in this apartment open as far as they can, because we need oxygen in here, preferably oxygen that is not 30 degrees Celsius. But also I can see that the sun is coming out, so I might need to shut everything down and turn this ground floor apartment into a cellar apartment again, because it's not fun. It is not fun at all. Also, I know my pothos looks crusty. She needs some help desperately. Look at her. This is Pauline, my pothos, and yeah, you can see she's struggling. She struggled with the heat wave. She's actually struggling since we moved here, so she's been struggling for a year, but hang on, she was okay. I had to find the right light levels for her. I thought I did, but then the heat wave hit, so there was no light anymore, because we had to keep all of the windows shuttered close, because the sun is a deadly laser, and she did not do well with that. Oh, hello! She did not like having no light, but all of the temperatures, so now she is actively dying. But the good thing about Pauline is she's a pothos, so I can just find where her thingies end and then just cut her to pieces. Pauline has been with me for a couple of years now. I have grown her to meters and meters and meters, and then cut her down, propagated her. She's a good girl, she knows how shit works, and I am sure I can save her as long as I'm doing it sooner rather than later. Because if we don't have any leaves left, shit might be weird. And now Riley wants to play with his ice cream cone. Baby is supposed to take a nap. Baby is supposed to take a nap. But yeah, Summerween is happening, and I have a set TBR. I just don't know which one to pick first. I guess I will get back to you once I have picked a read and have read something, because for now I need to entertain the puppy. think I never told you what the first read is that I picked up. I picked up Swallowed by Max Smitherman, and I already finished Swallowed by Max Smitherman. I read this for the horror thriller prompt of the Summerween prompt list readathon thingamathing thing, and this book jump scared me twice. The first time it jump scared me basically on page 1 because I may have forgotten the blurb, and I therefore didn't realize that this is plant horror in space. I thought this is plant horror, only plant horror. I completely forgot that this is plant horror on a different planet. I'm not mad about it. I like sci-fi stories, especially when they take place on different planets. Like I have nothing against sci-fi. I was just surprised by it taking place on a different planet. Oops, I guess. And then the second time it jump scared me with the fact that this entire book is kind of fueled by sex. I was not expecting this to go as lewd as it went. And that is not on me. That is not in the blurb, okay? So even if I read the blurb, the information is all fueled by bodily fluids and stuff. That is not in the blurb. Alas, let's talk about the book. Swallowed by Max Smitherman is about a group of people. It's 4 people, and they are sent to a new planet. The planet is unnamed, but they are sent there as a research team to figure out, can we colonize this planet? Can humans colonize this planet? Because we fucked our own, not in the cool way, in the actual, it is happening right now, destroying the planet fucked kind of way. So these 4 characters are sent to this new planet to figure out, okay, can we live there? They are the second team. There was another team before them, but horrible things happened. They all died and only one person came back, and that person is the mother of the main character in Swallowed. Now she is on that new planet with 2 other researchers. She herself is a researcher, and they have 1 military guy with them for security reasons. And they start to make camp and try to analyze what's going on the planet. And the planet is incredibly perfect, as in optimal for human life, and also perfectly symmetrical. Everything is perfectly symmetrical. The trees, the grass, waterfall, everything is perfect. And then weird shit starts happening. And part of that weird shit that is happening is people just being aroused. And for the main character and the military dude, because there was apparently some sort of attraction beforehand, this attraction is now supercharged, and they can't stop touching each other, looking at each other, talking to each other, being obsessed with each other. And then weird things happen even more when the planet itself wants to get involved in the dirty deeds. That is all I'm going to say about that. The rest you have to experience for yourself if you want to read this. I, despite being jump scared by the fact that it's a sci-fi read that takes place on a different planet and the just amount of smut in there, I still liked it. Now the smut is not as explicit as you would experience in a erotica novel. That's a different level. There's still a lot of smut, but it is very, I don't want to say it's over quickly. It's definitely an open door. It's not fade to black or anything, but there is a level of distance that you don't get in erotica novellas, novels, whatever. You do see the deed, but it is not overly detailed or drawn out, because yes, it happens kind of spontaneously, but it serves a purpose. And this purpose is not to drive a romance forward, which is a whole different kerfuffle in this thing. But like I said, I liked it. I enjoyed it. The writing was solid, very solid. And when the realization of what is going on hits, you're like, what the fuck? And the ending, this book goes places. I like this one so much. I liked it so much. And then I, right after that, picked up A Bone in His Teeth by Kellen Graves. I'm right now reading it. I'm like 150 pages in. It's kind of slow. It's a lot of setup. The first 100 pages are a lot of setup, because the story of A Bone in His Teeth is that we follow, what's his name? Follow Alba. And Alba has to run away from the people he works for because shit happens. they're mean to him. He owes them a buttload of money because his dad owed them a buttload of money. It's shady business. So he runs away following a hint that his disappeared mother left for him, and he reaches this weird ass town and they are looking for a new lighthouse keeper. So he's like, yeah, I have experience. I'm going to be the lighthouse keeper and I'm going to try and find my mom or clues as to where she went. And then weird shit happens. One of these weird things being that a mermaid, a mermaid siren shows up and attacks him, or he attacks the mermaid. I don't know. They have a kerfuffle on the water, and then they are kind of connected to each other because the siren cursed him, because he needs someone who can go on land unnoticed and figure out where all of the other sirens went, kind of like The Last Unicorn. Again, it's a lot of setup so far, and it is kind of boring. And if this continues at this pace, I don't think I'm going to like it very much. And I have a feeling that this book, it's over 400 pages long, and it is a romance between Alba and the mer dude. And with over 400 pages, and with the slow pace things move, I have a feeling that this book might overstay its welcome in a way. I don't know. I do not know. But for now, I will stick with it. I'm not so bored that I want to throw it out of the window. So I will keep going for now, and I will let you know if I DNF this or if I finish it. I have this down for the author I never read from before, by the way. Look at the baby. Baby. Yes, it's me again. I finished a book. Shocker, I know. And I'm also very tired, so we're going to make an energy drink. I only need to figure out which one. I already tested all of the good ones. We have these packets of Holy. I don't know if this is an international thing. It says made in Europe, but it's basically drink flavor packets. We have a tester set with hydration, which is like electrolyte mixes. We have milkshakes, iced tea, and energy drinks, and I'm the only person in this household who actually drinks energy drinks, so it is... I did not realize that the dishwasher is on. But yeah, I'm the only person who drinks energy drinks in this household, so it's my job to get through this tester packet. And I already taste tested all of the things that I think will be good. The only thing I haven't tested is strawberry shark, green apple alligator, watermelon whale. And I don't like watermelon flavored anything. And random cherry cheetah. I could drink my last raspberry raptor, which I really enjoyed. And I think my favorite is the fruity frog. Same. And the citrus cola. That was really good. Oh, and the pomegranate piranha. I love that. That one was really good. Also, hashtag not sponsored. The only person who's sponsoring this is my stepdad because he wanted to test out the hydration one, but he can't do anything in normal amounts. So he asked me, do you drink milkshakes? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. And he's like, do you drink iced tea? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. And he's like, do you drink energy drinks? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. So now we got the entire kit. So what am I picking? Strawberry shark, green apple alligator, or watermelon whale? Let's go with strawberry shark because there's also an orange piece on it. I like orange drinks. But yeah, that is totally not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the fact that I finished a book. Namely, I finished Walking Practice by Dolki Min, which, that was an experience if you ask me. Like, wow. Like, I started reading it and I was like, yeah, okay, cool, there's just some weird stuff about a semi-amorphous alien having sex with people only to then eat them. Okay, cool. But then there came the point where the text changed. And I was like, whoa, this is incredibly hard to read. So I was kind of put off by that for a second, but I stuck with it and I'm glad that I did. Because this is one of those artsy reads. The way it is written, the like not even the writing style, but the actual stylistic choice of how it is written as you see it on the page was a choice. At some point, the text becomes very disjointed. The letters are spaced further apart than they should be for normal words. And that is a deliberate stylistic choice, because that only happens when this alien sheds its human form, the costume it has to wear in order to pass off as human, and returns to its original state. That is when the text becomes disjointed, because it is not a human anymore, so it's not a human text anymore. It's harder for us to understand what they look like, so it's harder for us to understand the text. It is actually quite the clever choice if you think about it. Of course, that comes with the caveat that not everyone will be able to read it in the first place. I myself, I don't have dyslexia. I don't have any trouble with reading stuff. I can read stuff backwards. I can read weird fonts. I have been trained to read old German fonts. If you know what I'm talking about, it's very hard to do. And I have been professionally trained to read that stuff at university for an archival course. I can read weird looking stuff, but that one was a bit jarring at first. So I think for people who have issues with just comprehending words as they are written on the page, this might be a bit off-putting. This is where audiobooks as an accessibility tool would come in, for example. Because, and I tested this, a screen reader, your normal ass reading app screen reader cannot comprehend this spacing. You get the letters spit out one by one. So it's basically spelling the word for you, which is not the thing that helps you read the thing. Okay, the strawberry shark is aggressively pink. That's a stylistic choice. I appreciate the stylistic choice, even though I can see that it might be a problem for a lot of people who have trouble with reading stuff. But from an artistic standpoint, shit was good. That was a very clever thing to do with the text, in my opinion. Now comes the question about the actual story, though. The story is very simple. We follow this alien in their day-to-day life of scrolling through dating apps, finding people to shag, and then killing them in order to eat them. That is all this book is about. We just follow this alien around, doing whatever they need to do in order to survive. There's literally not much more going on. So I think the thing that sells this book is quite literally this artistic depiction of something that is so foreign to the human perspective, living a human life. It's a very interesting take on something that is quite horrific if you think about it. This is where the horror element comes in. I don't think the killing people and eating them is the horror part of this, because this is presented as just a normal survival mechanism. It's not much different to a lion eating a zebra or something. The horrific part is the comments this alien makes about mankind, of how we put ourselves into these boxes, of how we have this need to categorize everything to recognize what it is. And this alien purposefully exploits that. It exploits this rigid categorical thinking of people by adhering just enough to the rules of each category, to slip into it, to be categorized in a thing, and therefore seen as not a threat. This alien actually talks about how it figured out how to use these dating apps to its advantage, how it has this entire protocol of what do I need to look like when interacting with a person that thinks like this, when a person thinks like this, when a person thinks like this, in order to have them feel safe so I can do what I need to do, which is shag them, kill them, eat them. And that is a thing I don't want to think too hard about, quite honestly. I don't want to think too hard about how easy it is to do all of that once you realize what the protocols are. That is low-key scary. Also, I felt a strange kinship with this alien because it said things like, please don't perceive me when I don't want to be perceived. Keep looking somewhere else. And I'm like, yes, on the one side, that's this horrific thing of an alien that is trying to kill people hiding in plain sight. But on the other hand, it's like, yes, please don't perceive me when I don't want to be perceived. Thank you. Also, the way this alien talks about its own body as its own entity with its own, not quite thoughts, but instincts and whims, and how this alien as a person has to deal with all of these things that their body needs, this disconnect between the two things. I felt that deep in my bones. Like, I am someone, I talk about my brain as if it's a thing I don't have any control over. I talk about my body as if it's something that is a thing I need to deal with. I have a very similar disconnect between who I am as a person and the flesh sack that I am inhabiting. I felt strangely seen by this people-eating alien. Footnote, I don't want to eat people. At least not in that way. So yeah, it was an interesting read. It's definitely one of those artsy reads. If you're not in the mood for reading something that is designed to make you think, that is more on the artsy side of things where you have to take a step back and interpret what you just experienced, then don't read it. But I myself, I enjoyed it. Oh, this is very sweet. Okay. Okay, note to self, strawberry shark is not the shit. I mean, it is drinkable, but wow, that is sweet. And I say that as someone who likes sweet things, but this is too much. It tastes like very, very cheap strawberry water ice. Okay, so I'm done trimming. And she looks very sad. She looks very sad. I kept two. The youngest one is this one, just climbing up here. And this one was, the second one was pretty naked at the bottom. But the beauty about a pothos is you can just replant them in the same pot by just wrapping it around and then pushing it in the dirt. And I hope this will, I cut this, so there may or may not be some new growth. If not, sad. Riley helped not one bit. Again, he's a garden destroyer, not a good gardener. If you need some help digging, then he's your man. And these, all of this, I will see which leaves are viable and which are not. Like, for example, this one, this is perfectly healthy. This one, on the other hand, not so much. So I will just trim that out and then propagate them in water. And once they have roots that I deem long and strong enough, I will plant them. Do we need to pee? Let's go pee. She's a little gardener. I finished A Bone in His Teeth by Kellen Graves, and I'm very glad that I stuck with it, because it actually got good. I think I updated at the 150 page mark, somewhere around the 150 page mark, and I had the feeling that this book will overstay its welcome, and that it's kind of slow going and boring, and I don't really know what it wants to do. Every time I give an update when I'm in the middle of a book, and every time it's an update like that, it usually means that the next 1 to 5 chapters, the entire plot kicks off and I'm falling in love with the book. That is a streak I have not broken with this book, because it, again, after the 150 page mark, things started happening, things started to get interesting, and I'm not mad about it. Alba and this mermaid siren dude, he was born a mermaid, but then he was kicked out, or he was born a merrow. They're called merrows, and he was kicked out of his family group and had to live out in the ocean, and that drives merrows mad to the point where they eat anything they can in order to stay alive, which usually then turns out to be humans, and that is what turns them into sirens, because they then can never go back. Like, once they taste human flesh, they can never stop craving human flesh. Something like that. So Alba and Eridanis, I want to say is his name, are now locked in this, well, they're not locked in this pact, but Eridanis has locked Alba into this pact because he cursed Alba, hey, if you go anywhere where you can't hear the shore anymore, you turn into salt. So Alba is trapped in this coastal town until he figures out what happened to Eridanis' family, because when Eridanis came back, they were all gone, and he now wants to know where are they, but he can't go to land because people there know him for some reason, or there could be people that know him. So they do this, and Alba is trying to figure out how to deal with that. And then Eridanis just kind of hangs out at his lighthouse. He just hangs out with the human. He just cursed because he's like, I want answers, bitch. And the human is like, well, you kind of have to wait because I don't have a boat, and we're kind of trapped on this tiny little island for the next week until someone comes and picks me up so I can go on a supply run. And Eridanis is like, well, what do you do for fun around here? It is hilarious. He is so grumpy and mean, and is like, I'm a super powerful merrow person and I can kill so many people with like a swipe of my tail, blah blah blah. And then he's just inconvenienced by the fact that a rowboat is missing and he now has to live with a human. They have this entire discussion about just say thank you. Just say thank you from time to time. And everyone's like, thank you! It's hilarious. Their vibe together is hilarious. And then, because of course they are kind of forced to live together, they're not technically forced to live together. Eridanis can leave at any time. He just decides, I live here now. For some reason. So they are in this artificially forced proximity, and they kind of start to adapt to each other. And Eridanis more or less promises to help figure out what happened to Alba's mom when Alba helps him figure out what happened to his family. So they do come to somewhat of a mutual understanding, and Alba investigates both of these mysteries, and then shit from his past comes back to haunt him, and blah blah blah. And just them being around each other grows their attraction towards each other. It's not just physical, it is in part physical, because Eridanis apparently is the most beautiful being to have ever existed. So there is some sort of physical attraction, yes, but they also start to just vibe with each other the more time they spend together. And their dynamic is just so interesting. And then at one point they realize, hey, okay, how about we do this thing? And then they create a bond, a sacred bond for the Marrows, where they, I don't know if it's a blood bond or something, because the blood bond was technically when Eridanis cursed Alba, because he bit him and then cursed him, and that was what anchored the curse. And if they sleep together, they can form a bond where Alba would become a shore caller, meaning he could call Eridanis from wherever, and Eridanis would come immediately to him and help him. And they have that connection, and it would also enable Eridanis to walk on land or something. And then they have sex for 6 house ended good, and apparently Eridanis has some very interesting anatomy, as in more akin to monster romance anatomy. There are 2, and they are apparently very creative and very good. I did like the smut, but there is a thing that I think is incredibly unrealistic. Because we know Alba himself tells us, the reader, and Eridanis this. He has never done the deed. He has never done the deed. He is a virgin. So when Aridanis shows up and is like, hey, we can do the deed to do this magical thingamathing thing, and Alba is like, yes, but have you considered I have never done this? I'm like, yeah, we can work with that. And then Aridanis shows his bits. Apparently they are both very big. And also, footnote, Alba is a trans guy, so his anatomy allows both things to go in different places. When Alba, for the first time in his life, does the deed, he immediately, without any warm-up, without much of foreplay, takes both in both without a problem. That is not how things work. That is not how things work. If you want to take something that big, and if you want to take two at the same time, both of these things individually require a vast amount of preparation and even training. So doing the big thing twice in both, no, that's how people end up in hospital. But I enjoyed this book so much after the first 150 pages. And I do now realize, okay, this book needed this much setup, so you actually know what is happening, because the plot comes in layers. The mystery plot comes in layers. Many a layer. There are at least like 3 or 4 of them, and they are all equally important at different parts in the story, so there's a lot going on. So the book didn't overstay its welcome like I thought it would. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. After the first 150 pages, I enjoyed it. I would like to say I enjoyed it front to back, no pun intended. And I think I do enjoy it as a whole thing. It's just that without the context of the final 66%, the first 33% were kind of meh. But 2020 hindsight tells me I enjoyed the entire book. And I read that for the author I have never read from before, Prompt. I have no idea what I'm going to pick up next, but you will see in a couple of seconds, I guess. I finished Tender is the Flesh by, I forgot the author's name. I have to say, I don't get the hype around it. Everyone was so outraged when it first came out, or the translation came out. And I mean, yeah, it's a book that explores the concept of ethical cannibalism, government-sanctioned cannibalism, because it's the only source of meat after a weird virus infected all the animals, and for some reason mankind went mad and decided, okay, we now need to destroy any kind of animal we can find. And I don't know. We also follow the story. We only follow one character, and this character works in one of those meat processing houses, and he has to manage the buying of the meat and then the processing of the meat, and he also deals with strange labs. He's one of those people who have to do a little bit of everything, or at least touch all moving parts of this new meat industry. But the thing is, I couldn't really get into the whole story because my mind kept circling back to the fact that there are no more animals around. That would mean that the entire ecosystem would collapse. No more animals means, for a large part, no more plants. The entire ecosystem depends on animals being around and doing certain things. And there is a whole chain of things. That's why animals going extinct is so bad. Certain animals, because they fulfill a very specific niche they have evolved into. So I kept circling back to the fact that there are no more birds, no more pets, no more cattle of a normal kind. It's so weird. Like I was more hung up on that than on the fact that people eat human flesh. Maybe that's because I've been reading so many books in a row where the consumption of human flesh was part of things. I don't know, but I just didn't think the hype it had was valid. Quite honestly, I think it had this kind of hype because it was the first cannibalism thought experiment, I guess, that hit mainstream. It's not a bad book by any means. It does raise some very good points about how we treat each other and how society can crumble and in a way adapt to such extreme happenings and stuff. I think the part that hit me the most is that this main character gets gifted a female, one of those cattle humans. And he keeps her, and for some time he doesn't know what to do with her. He doesn't necessarily want to keep her, he doesn't want to butcher her like you would with a pig, for example. But at one point, there's a lot going on in his life, and he's not 100% on board with the slaughtering of humans as cattle. He still sees them as human, at least in part. So there's a lot going on in his life, and then at one point he just kind of cracks. He doesn't snap, he cracks, and decides, okay, I'm going to take care of this cattle human. And then he does something that you shouldn't do with your pets, and she gets pregnant from that, and he has lost a child, so he's like, oh shit, and he wants to keep it, and then she has the baby, and it's a whole thing, and her story or his story with her is the thing where I was like, ugh. Because on the one hand, yes, she's human and he is human, but on the other hand, she was bred as cattle, and then he kept her like a pet, and that was just having all of these worlds collide, like a farm animal turning into a pet, but at the same time, because you are anatomically capable of doing things that was so it was a good solid read. I think it is overhyped, but I don't regret reading it. I read that for the pink cover, or pink on the cover prompt, and now I only have one more thing to read, which is House of Slaughter Volume 6, the blue one. I'm looking forward to doing that, but first of all, look at that baby. Look at that baby. He loves sleeping like that, by the way. It's just a Labrador thing. He loves this. But yeah, reading House of Slaughter is not going to happen for a little while, because as you can see, it is bright outside, and House of Slaughter is the book I want to read at night, or in the dark. And since it is not yet another heat wave, I kind of don't want to make my room dark just because. So I will get back to you once I've read House of Slaughter. I'm probably going to read it tonight, just because. But for now, I'm just going to take a break. Maybe edit this vlog. And then later on, the little one is going to school. We have puppy school today. And yeah, once I'm back, might be getting dark. I think we get back when the sun starts to think about setting. And then I'm probably going to read House of Slaughter. I'm standing here like a creep because I'm waiting for a stupid container truck to wrap up and leave. I don't know if you remember, but I once said I don't have neighbors on one side of this house. And about a week later, people started working on the house next door. It has been on sale since we moved here over a year ago, and our theory was that it didn't sell even though a lot of people looked at it because it had been empty for so long, so it kind of just started to rot on the inside, and now people have finally started working on it. You can see some insulation is being ripped out. They also fixed the garden. I think the puppy needs to go outside to pee or just wants to look at the truck, I don't know. But people started working on it, which is somewhat of a problem when you want to film stuff, because there's a lot of noise going on now. And I wanted to film a video an hour ago, but as you can hear, low-key impossible. So, yeah. I'll get back to you once it's quiet. I need to complain more. I just wrapped up filming that last clip, came back inside, made myself a coffee, and now there's blissful silence. So I'm gonna sit down and then we're gonna talk. Alright, okay, cool. Yes. Hi, it's me again. This will be, hopefully, the last time you see me for this vlog, because I finished... Hey, Pee-Pee, you wanna join? Behave! Popper is very much going through puberty, and he is testing us left, right, and center. I finished House of Slaughter Volume 6, Azure, I don't know, the blue one. And it was hella confusing for a hot second, but then in the end it cleared itself up, and I like that, because we get more of Edwin, and if you've read Volume 2 Scarlet, you know that Edwin is not the biggest of talkers. And then something happens by the end of the comic, and now in this blue volume, we actually hear him talk, and he just doesn't shut up. And he's the most autistic person ever. He's literally explaining to the main character of this comic, you have to be clear, man. I don't understand people. They use so many metaphors, and every time the other guy is like, okay, are you using metaphor? No, I'm not using a metaphor. That's literally what I just told you. I'm incapable of using metaphors. I'm a huge fan of Edwin. I knew at the end of Scarlet, I suspected that Edwin saw, and I got confirmation. It was actually that he saw, and that is very cool. I just liked this volume of House of Slaughter very, very much. And I don't know, is this the final one? Because now we have all of the mask colors. We're done with all of the mask colors. So I don't know, is this the final one? Is there more? I don't know, it's very open-ended. But it was like never meant as a, this has an end, given that this is just background information for the Slaughterverse as a whole. So I don't know. Are you comfortable? Can I show you? I don't think I can. He's currently sprawled over me. His butt is in my bookshelf. But yeah, I loved this volume of House of Slaughter, and with that, I fulfilled my final Summerween prompt, because I read that in the dark, and finishing my final Summerween prompt means I'm done with Summerween, which means this vlog is now over. What are you doing? What are you doing? What? Okay, cool. Yes. No. So I'm going to end this vlog here, because there's nothing more to read, no more prompts to fulfill for me, and yeah. If you made it this far into the video, let me know if you participated in Summerween. If so, what was your favorite read for Summerween? If you don't want to talk to me at all, leave a pumpkin emoji down in the comments below, and yeah, I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye!